15, 16, there are a lot of interesting films with...
Okay, sir, we are live now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good evening and namaste. This is Saurabh Kaushal from Smartcircuits Innovation Private Limited, your host for the day. And today we have three very special guests with us. One is Mr. Umesh Kulkarni ji, Gautam Kishanchandani ji, and Mr. Mitul Dixit ji. Welcome on this live interactive session to all of you, sir. Let me give a very short, brief introduction about three of them to you, viewers. Mr. Umesh Kulkarni ji is a Marathi film director. He is an alumnus of the Film and Television Institute of India, Pune. He is known for Marathi films such as Vaalu, Diol, and Highway. He is known for short films such as Giri, that is a grinding machine, Three of Us, Vile, Garud, and Darshan. He received a National Film Award for Best Debut Director for his short film Gidney. His other short film, Three of Us, was also appreciated worldwide. The Temple, his featured film, received a National Film Award for Best Film in the year 2011. Welcome, Umesh, sir, on our show.
Thank you.
And on the other hand, we have Gautam Kishanchandani, sir. He is a casting director and assistant director, known for Devdi in 2009, Once Upon a Time in Mumbai 2010, and Black Friday 2004. Welcome, Gautam, sir, on our show. And we have Mr. Mitul Dixit, who is the director of Chandigarh Literature and Film Festival, chairman of Dikshant Group of Schools. Welcome, Mitul Dixit, sir, and over to you to please, moderate this session along with me. Welcome to all. Yeah.
Thank you, Saurabh, and thank you, Umesh, for joining us today. And Gautam, of course, thank you very much for joining in. And slightly more, I'd like to introduce Gautam more. He's a doctor turned. He was a doctor by profession. He still is a doctor by profession, but I mean, he's into films since Black Friday, I think.
Yeah.
He started with Black Friday, and he was the first casting director in the film industry. Is that true?
Not first, but yeah, kind of in the early ones, like.
Yeah. And of course, Umesh is one of the most respected filmmakers, and his passion for films, the way he's been promoting Marathi films and cinema in India, is something which makes me a big fan of his, and of course his work also. So I'll start with Umesh. Umesh, it's a very interesting journey that you've had till now, and can you take us through your childhood days, your schooling, and how did you get into cinema and your journey?
Yeah, sure. So I live in Pune, born and brought up in Pune. The village where my family comes from is very close to Pune in Satara district. And I went to a Marathi school, MES Boys High School. And fortunately, there was a very good theater scene in our school. So we used to make plays, and every year we used to make a few plays. And I was actually interested in lots of things. I was interested in dance. I was interested in the literature, like reading and painting. And I was not watching films when I was a kid. But all these things I was really interested. I always wanted to be many things. Like I wanted to be a mathematician. I wanted to study physics. Then I wanted to do arts and learn painting, and then dance and singing. So finally, when I went to the college, we had a theater group, me and Umesh Kulkarni, the creative partner. So we had a theater group, and we started making the plays that we like, because mostly people used to do the plays which are written by someone else. And we decided that we will, whatever we have to do, even if it's very wrong, even if it's not good, we will do our own plays. We'll write our own plays and we'll make them. So that's how we started doing theater in the college. And then I fortunately met Sumitra Bhave and Sunil Suptankar, who are filmmakers from Pune. They were making their first film called Doghi. And they were looking for, boys like who can do the shifting of things, and then who can do anything on the set. And one of my school teachers, he told me that they're making this film and then they need these boys. So are you interested? And generally, I'm interested in everything. So I said, yeah, why not? And then I suddenly landed up on this film set. And then this whole experience of assisting, Sumitra ji asked me to give clap. So I gave clap for the first shot. And then this whole journey of that assisting of the first film was so mesmerizing, because I thought that all the art forms, they kind of combine together to make something which is called as film. But still there is something which is not there in any of the art forms. So that was, and then they also asked us to come to the editing. So we used to edit on Steambake, and my job was to find the right shot and give it to them when they were editing. So like looking at the shots, and then when these two shots are combined, and then you suddenly get a sense of time, and something magical happened. And I thought that this is quite interesting. But I never thought that I will be a filmmaker. I thought that this filmmaking is also another stint which I am liking. So one of my very close friends, Sachin Kundalkar, he is we studied together in school. So he said that he wants to go to Film Institute and he wants to make films. He had decided it since he was in 8th standard. And then the Film Institute was about to open, and then there was an exam. So he said that, why don't you come to the exam with me? I said, but I don't want to be a filmmaker. He said, no, come along. I don't want to go to the exam alone. So I also wrote the form, and then I gave the exam, and then suddenly, fortunately, I got admitted to FTI. And then I said, and I was doing chartered accountancy. I was almost about to become a chartered accountant at that point of time. Not because I wanted to be, but just everybody was doing CA, so I was doing CA. And then there was this point of decision making. I don't take decisions. I hate taking decisions. That's the only decision perhaps I had to take, because actually filmmaking is about decision making, and then I hate taking decisions. I just feel like, okay, ye jo chalta hai wo chalne do. But then when I got the admission, then there was this dilemma whether I should join or whether I should not. And then my father told me that do whatever you feel like and take your own responsibility, and he's okay with me doing anything. So that kind of support, and he gave me the fees for first year, and he said, then let rest you manage. And so I joined FTI, and there kind of this whole world of cinema in a way opened up for me. Also, fortunately, National Film Archives was in Pune, so every Saturday we started watching films. And the first film I saw in NFAI was Rashomon, and it was rainy season, and I'm generally always late for everything. So I also kind of I was completely drenched. I went on my two-wheeler. Completely drenched, I entered this beautiful theater, NFAI, and in the film Rashomon, it was also raining, and that film kind of completely shook me every side of me, and I thought that if I can create, something like an experience like that, I think that could be a good reason to live. So at an institute, we started making small films, like 2-minute films and 4-minute films. And we were watching films from all the masters. And that really, that gave me a space and this whole group of friends from FTI. And it made me think what exactly I have to say if I have to make something, what do I say? And why do I make films? And what is it that I really want to share with friends and with audience whom I don't even meet. And then I realized that there are so many things that we really cannot communicate. We can't communicate it through pictures. We can't communicate it through writing. And perhaps that I can communicate through an image and through sound is the revelation which I kind of got from FTI. And FTI is a great place. I really feel that it gave me the courage and infrastructure to make something without really thinking about the result. They never told me that don't do this and don't do that. And if I want to say something, or an image. It was just like that freedom of FTI was something which really contributes to what we later started making. And yeah, so that's kind of long answer to your short question.
No. That's perfect and brilliant. Uh, when I take up this question, Gautam, I would like to know about you also. Being a doctor by profession, how did you end up landing into films?
So I was because my parents are doctors, and I was pretty sheltered as a kid who didn't have his own voice. I just kind of took it as a, sense of responsibility that who will take care of my hospital, my parents' hospital. So I joined medicine, and it was also a private college. It was, my parents paid donation. And somewhere second year, I was really kind of not very happy in it. And for some reason, I had gone to Belgaum and to my aunt's place. And there I saw this Tamil film called Roja by Mani Ratnam. And that kind of, from being an avid film watcher to kind of realizing, oh, there is somebody who's creating this, and there is a mind behind this storytelling, is what kind of somewhere was the seed was planted because of Roja. But it still took me, I still completed my medicine and tried working in a hospital for a couple of years. And eventually I realized I'm quite miserable in this field. And I told my parents that I really want to switch to films. And I think after spending college plus 2 years in a hospital working, I think then I switched. I took up a course, an XIC film and television production course. And after that, I kind of did ad films for a little while. And then I joined Anurag just before Black Friday. I think that's mota mota.
Okay. And Gautam, would you continue with the conversation about Umesh? I understand that you're a big fan of his films, and
yeah, he is somebody whose work, the first film of his that I got to saw was Girni in a film festival. I don't remember what film festival it was, but it had we were shown a lot of FTI films in that kind of section of a film festival. And that's the time when I saw Girni and was blown away. And then the next project I saw was Vaalu, which was, again, I think one of the most very sophisticated Marathi film. I mean, it was a brilliant satire, and there was something very sophisticated about it and very funny. And that was something that made me realize, oh man, this guy is a serious talent. And then even Vihir is my favorite film of Umesh's. And that completely blew me away. That was something special. And then the three of us, someone sent me a link to see it on YouTube. And again, that was something very, 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 very impressive and, very heartening film. So I've been a big fan of his work since a very long time. And I'm always eager to know what he's doing and when is his next film out, or, always excited about knowing what he's up to.
Umesh, tell me something that you've never thought of, venturing into the mainstream Bollywood cinema or the Hindi film industry. I mean, I've always seen you with the kind of cinema you've been promoting. I mean, it's not only the Marathi films, but all over, all the regional cinema also. So how do you get that, the whole idea of, this promoting this kind of a cinema?
So when I was studying in FTI, I got a scholarship to study a bit in France, in Paris. And there I discovered that this whole world of short films, because there are so many short film festivals which were happening, and then I was attending many of them. And before that, I never had this opportunity to watch short films. The only short content which I had seen was the documentaries, some FD documentaries. And I felt that this short films as a form is so evocative, it's so important. And why don't we have this form which is completely unknown to the people around me? And then, fortunately, the films that I directed in FTI as student projects, many of them they traveled in international film festivals, and I got an opportunity to travel to many countries to show my films. And I discovered this form has its own value. It's not just a stepping stone towards a feature film, but this form is something which has its own effect. You can create something which you can never create in a feature film. Something which is very powerful and something which is really true to what you want to make. Because most of the times for a feature film, the budgets are high, and then there are lots of other parameters which come into existence. So I decided that even if I start making feature films, I will keep making short films, and I will keep promoting these short films in at least in Pune. So we started a short film club. The company me and Girish we have is Arbhat. So we started this Arbhat short film club, where we thought that we should have a platform to all the young people who want to express through films, where they can say what they feel like, and they should watch films. They should share their experience while they're making these short films. So we showed like some good international content and some good Indian content in this club sessions. And I was when I was in FTI, I was watching these French films and Italian films and films from regional languages of India. Like I was watching Arvindan's films, Adur Gopal Krishnan's films. I was watching Rutvik Ghatak. And I realized that everybody is making films in their own mother tongue, because that is the most truthful form, where you understand the nuance of the language. You can tell your story most beautifully in your mother tongue. And why do we have to make Hindi films? Why can't we just make Marathi films? And at that point of time, making a Marathi film was so very difficult, because we used to make in 2005, we used to make some 10 films a year. And then if we don't make it, then who will? So we thought that me and Girish, we thought we should make our film in Marathi. And the budget, of course, we studied in FTI. So the first film we really wanted to make the way we wanted it to make. And so the budget was high, and the common budget in those times for Marathi films was very low. So we wrote the script of Vaalu, and then we went to all the probable producers, those even who in their dreams thought of making or producing or giving money to a film. We reached them. This we continued for a year and a half, and the protagonist of our film is a bull. And people used to say that, why are you making a film which has a hero who is a bull? Make something else, make something with songs. And we told them that no, we don't have any songs in our films, but we want to make this film in this particular way. And unfortunately, we didn't get, unfortunately or fortunately. And then we decided that let's make this film on our own. So Girish and my cousin brother Nitin and me, we decided that, and we had no money. We were just like, I was just out of FTI. We were like Vellas. And then we started talking to all our friends and our relatives to lend us money to make a film, which is very high budget. So we don't know whether this film will run, whether people will watch it, whether we will be able to make a feature film. So no idea whatsoever. But I think not knowing things is sometimes really good, because if you start knowing things, Once you know the things, then you are doubtful. When you don't know anything, you are not doubtful. You're just like, you are ready to accept anything that comes to you. So we finally got some money and we started shooting, and all the people who were acting in it, like Atul Kulkarni and Dr. Mohan Agashe, our cinematographer from FTI, Sudhir Palsane, everybody helped us immensely, and that's how we made the film. And fortunately, Mukhtar's Mr. Subhash Ghai took the film for distribution, and then this film ran for 6 months in theater. So it was a completely like unimaginable story of our complete blind efforts. And then we got this confidence that if we really make something which is accessible, we will have an audience. The film also went to Rotterdam Film Festival and like some other international film festivals. So I never thought that I'll be making films for film festivals. I thought I'll make films for our own audience, and that kind of came true. And so we kept making Marathi films. Our trust was in a way, it was solidified. It was we realized that yes, we have to make films in our own language, and we have to create our own space in the industry, in the Marathi industry, which was not there at that point of time. And fortunately, some other young filmmakers like Nagaraj Manjule, and there was a film called Tingya, and then there was another film called Shala. So all these films started happening. And suddenly this Marathi films slowly got an eye. They got audiences. They started getting theaters, spaces. So it then eventually Court, like Killa. So all these films, they started happening, which actually we gave support to each other to make these films happen. And that's how, but I'm not against making a Hindi film, but I will make a Hindi film if that film has characters and the whole story happens in a way that I have to tell this story in Hindi language. Otherwise, like just big is not enough. I think being truthful to your content is very important.
And how was it? I mean, what I have heard is, and that you do these short filmmaking workshops, which you've been doing for quite some time, and many of the people, the first-time filmmakers, have gone on to win the national awards. Is that correct?
Yeah, so what happened was, because I was interested in this short film. I think it's my like first love, more than feature films. I like short films. So I thought there were like, because of the digital technology, everybody started making short films, and people used to kind of call me and for the advice, and then in 2 hours, what can one say? So for first 1 year, I was almost practically meeting some young short filmmaker every day, and like reading their scripts, and who don't have any experience about filmmaking, neither they have assisted. And then I realized that there's a lot of like shitty content which is being produced because people are just not aware as cinema is a language. It's not, it's very easy to watch a film, but it's extremely difficult to make a film. And so I thought that there has to be something which someone should show that this is a path, and this, what is the magic of this language, and how can one approach? I never believed that cinema can be really taught. It cannot be taught, but I thought, let me share my experiences and like how I am looking at making films, what is the process, and let me share it with a lot of people. And that's how we started this short film making workshop. It's like a 4 days short film making workshop. And fortunately, I thought that I'll make it for like a year or two, and then that's about it. And then because I'm not a teacher. So, and then when I had to say something about film, I have to say something about the process. It really made me think what exactly I should say. and how do I really put it into words, this whole process. And that actually started becoming like my learning process more than actually like teaching. I started learning more, because every time you start talking about something, and I don't like take the notes and say it exactly the same way. So every time I'm saying something, some new revelations started coming to me. And then I thought that maybe this is a good way of learning cinema, because constantly you start questioning your own ideas whenever you start talking about them. So that's how we, and then eventually some of the students who came for these workshops, they made their films, and then they got some national awards or went to some film festivals and Indian Panorama. And so all that was, so in a way, I also feel that it's an extension, because you don't have to make all the films. You can't make all the films. But if something that you say and someone gets inspired and makes something, you almost feel that it's your extension. So that's how it continues.
Saurabh, you have any questions?
Yeah, so actually, sir, we have a few questions from the viewer side. So let me take first question from Umesh, sir. So viewers want to know, how did the idea of Highway come up? Okay. Is there any story behind that particular movie, Highway? Yeah.
So many of the times the stories, they came from the efforts of the earlier films. So when I was talking about this Vaalu, and we were trying to look for the producer. So I always lived in Pune. So anytime I thought that, okay, I have to meet someone, I have to go to Bombay. So there are these hundreds of Bombay travels, like Pune, Bombay and Bombay, Pune travel. And at that time, this new highway was built. And I used to take these share taxis, because that was the cheapest way of transport and quickest. So all these 2, 3, 4 years, I was going to the highway in these share taxis. And when you enter a share taxi, there are these 3, 4 people, you don't know anything about them. By the time you reach Bombay, or by the time from Bombay, if you have started, by the time you reach your destination, you know exactly what is happening in all the people in the car, because most of the people are talking on phones. And through these phone conversations, which you cannot avoid, you know what is happening. And then the strange thing of meeting people whom you otherwise would never have met. And then sometimes I always have this habit of conversing, whether I'm traveling in the train or in taxis. So these conversations, they really kind of opened me up to different lifestyles, different point of views. And I thought that I should be making something about these strange journeys where you can't take a detour on a highway. So you begin your journey with an intention to reach, but you actually don't. And this whole passage between two metro cities, I thought that that's a great idea. And then and Girish is a very good dialogue writer, and he's also very good in creating characters. So I thought this is like a dream project for me and Girish to discover these immense characters, because most of our films are with many people, because we really love meeting people, and we really like to engage with people. We like to have so many people. All our friends should be in our films. That's what we feel. That so Highway was also another opportunity to make a film with some 60 characters, and yeah, so that's how it emerged.
Okay. So, sir, I have another question related to the highway. So the viewer want to know that the tagline of highway is "Ek selfie aar par." So, what does it mean, sir?
What it means is what it means, actually. But it's actually, we were trying to understand what is this highway doing to our lives, and it is like a highway is a phenomena of today's urban existence. It is something which, it's you have to be fast. You can't stop in between. You can't wait. You have to reach fast to the destination. So can we understand this whole highway as a metaphor, and can we on this highway in the film, there is a like journeys are so important, because journeys are, they give you an opportunity and time to know who you are, to know, to wait and see what is actually happening in your life. It's a kind of pause of a kind. So that's how we gave this a tag, because there was another highway film which had come, so we thought that we should have a line. And then Vrushali, one of our actors from Highway, she came up with this uh, with this tag that "Ek selfie aar paar." A selfie, everybody's taking a selfie, but can this selfie really talk about who you are? Can it penetrate in your existence? Can it penetrate you and show yourself who you are at this point of time in today's world?
Gautam, your question.
Okay. How did the idea of Vaalu come about?
So Vaalu, when I was assisting Sumitra Bhave and Sunil Suttankar, they were also making lots of documentaries. I'm a nomad by my way of life. So I love going to different places and meeting people and engaging with them and talking to them. So all this while, whenever we used to make a documentary, people used to come and they did not understand this word documentary. So it was always like there used to be a commotion in these villages. And people are very curious to see what we are doing and how we are shooting. And this whole documentary became like a phenomena for many of the villagers. So I was quite intrigued with this fact that how people react to someone bringing a camera in a village, and it in a way completely changes their, like they used to come, even if whenever we used to tell them that, okay, like you don't have to dress up nicely, just be the way you are, because we want to kind of capture the reality and capture the truth. Everybody used to kind of wear these like the clothes which they have wore in their weddings. They used to wear those clothes. So, and there is this whole thing of like this whole the camera and the magic of camera, and to be in front of the camera is something which is which Indian people they love in a way. And so that was one thing. And the other kind of inspiration for Vaalu was we had a friend who once told me and Girish that he went to capture a cow which went berserk with his brother, who is a veterinary doctor. And that line was, we were doing this workshop with a theater personality, Mr. Dubey, Satyadev Dubey. And then this friend of ours, he didn't come one day, and then the next day when he came, we asked him where you were, and he said that I went to capture a cow. And that kind of stayed with us for a long time. And then we met his brother, who used to get invitations from many villages. If people goes berserk, like if the kettle goes berserk, then he used to go and catch them or tranquilize them. So, and that stayed for us for 7-8 years. So all the films that we have made, the ideas were there with us for like some 7, 8, 10 years. We never we thought about an idea and then next month we wrote a script. It was never like that. We always thought about these ideas for years, and that's how these stories were made.
Wow. And Vihir felt very personal. Was it from something that you experienced, or somebody close to you experienced, or?
Yeah, it's kind of little autobiographical story. Because I lost my cousin brother in the well, and I was not there, and I taught him how to swim, and I had come to Pune. So the basic premise and the idea, and that was the first film which I really wanted to make, because that was the first experience with the death as a thing. I always thought that people never die; they just live forever, and there's nothing like death. So this idea of death first came to me with this incident. And then it just shook me. I was in 9th standard at that time. And it shook me because I just thought that he was there like a day before and then he's not there. So what is this not there? What does it mean? And what is the existence of someone? So all these questions, they started coming to me when I was in school. And we had this essay in our 10th standard called Hate. It's written by one of my favorite writers called G.A. Kulkarni. So in this...
What's it called?
G.A. Kulkarni. It says...
no, the essay, the name of the essay?
It's called Hate.
Hate, okay.
So, and in that, so the Ashwatthama meets Buddha. That is the kind of a story, which is, so Buddha is walking and then he meets Ashwatthama, and Ashwatthama says that the real sorrow of me is I don't have death, like I can't die. And that completely flipped my way of looking at death as a phenomenon. And then it kind of, it was there, and then I always thought that I'll make that as my first film. But, telling a story of someone, like the first experience of a death of a small child was something completely unheard of. I actually pitched that story to a few people. And then I realized that this is not going to work. No one really knows what it is. And fortunately, when we, after Vaalu, from AB Corp, Jayaji kind of called me and she said that if you want to make something, then we will support you. And I told her this basic idea, and she said that, yeah, let's make the film.
Wow.
And that was something which, I don't know, things just sometimes they do happen in, and we made the film. Of course, it was very difficult to put this incident in my life into a script. And Girish somehow, because we know each other for long, it's very, otherwise I don't know if that would have been, possible to bring it into like a script, because do have so many experiences in our lives, but to put it in a script with a perspective, like one of my another friends who also helped me in writing, Girini Sati, so she also helped me in this script, and that's how we could eventually come up with a thing which and Vaalu had lots of dialogues, like it was full with dialogues, and I was fed up with the dubbing because we did the dubbing for 6 months.
Wow.
I thought that in this film, there are not going to be like least dialogues. And
yeah,
so
Vihir's second half I don't think it had any dialogues.
Doesn't have, like, it has almost no dialogues in the second half. And it's, I'm not going to do this dubbing forever.
It was very, very impactful. Vihir was really, really special.
Okay. Umesh, Deol also won the National Award for the Best Feature Film.
Yeah.
Can you tell us more about the film?
So again, when we were doing Vaalu, like we this village where we shot the film, they helped us left, right, center. They helped us with everything. Because of these villagers, we could actually make the film the way it is right now. So we asked, at the end of it, we asked them what should we kind of, we would like to give you a token of your help. So they said that give us money to renovate the old beautiful temple that they had. And we said that like we can't give you money because this temple is like it's a great temple. It is with it's a rock temple. Why do you want to make it into a concrete temple? And they said that we helped you the way you wanted. Now you help us the way we want you to help us. Because we were giving them options that we'll make a library in the village. We'll make like public toilets because there were no toilets. And they said, no, you give us money to make. And we were very saddened by this thing that it was such a beautiful temple, and they wanted it to kind of destroy it to make it into a temple which is cement concrete like. And the same time in my village, we had a very beautiful, like a tile roof temple. And one fine day, I went after 6 months to my village, and then they had made this cement concrete temple like almost like a shop. So I was completely aghast, and I was thinking that what makes people think that what is this idea of development was a question which was there in my mind all this while. That why what do we call as development? And I was doing this research kind of thing of all the singers who sing the traditional folk songs. So to get these singers to shoot and to record these songs, I used to visit a lot of the known pilgrimage centers in Maharashtra. And everywhere I went, I realized that these pilgrimage centers, they have become like big shops. They're malls. And because everyone is selling and buying, and the whole economy of that place depends on that temple. So all these things came together, and then we decided to make this film about this idea of development and the commercialization of religion. That's how this script kind of came into existence. And me and Girish, we do visit and we do travel a lot in the villages. So many of our experiences they were brought in the script.
Saurabh?
Yeah, so sir, Gautam sir, we have a question for you. The viewer wants to know, sir, the no smoking was a very good movie, and John did a great role. So ये idea कहाँ से आया, sir? No smoking जो movie थी उसका?
I think वो अनुराग तो अनुराग का आइडिया था, और I think I don't know अनुराग को कहाँ से आइडिया आया था, but he had written a script, and he always wanted to I don't know how to idea कहाँ से, क्योंकि उसने लिखी है स्क्रिप्ट, मैं तो सिर्फ चीफ एडी था और कास्टिंग डायरेक्टर था, तो मैं नहीं जवाब दे पाऊंगा. But yeah, I won't be able to answer this question where he got the idea from.
Yeah, the closest answer is that अनुराग को कहाँ से आइडिया आता है वो किसी को हमको नहीं पता है. And it is
Okay, sir. One more question is there, Gautam sir, for you, from a viewer side. There was a controversy on taking Taapsee or young actor for the role of aged person in your movie Sant Ki Aankh. Being a casting director, how much these things bother you and how you deal with it?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a director's prerogative, I feel. If you want to tell a story and you want to tell it in a particular way, and you want viewers to be, want the maximum viewers, you choose the path that suits you. And I think somewhere the director chose, and it was a very commercial format film which needed X amount of money. So I guess the director chose that, and it was his decision completely. In an ideal world, obviously you would want 70 or 80-year-old women to play those parts. But then producers backing that idea, and whoever the person who's making the film, that's his call, I feel. Ideal world, I'm not, I mean, ideally it should have been made with 70 or 80-year-old women, but that's something for the director to decide, because he wanted to make it in a particular way, in a particular budget, and that's all I can say about it.
Yeah, Umesh, another thing I wanted to know, how what kind of budgets does a Marathi film, a full-fledged Marathi film? I mean, there's no generalized thing about, the budgets that the Marathi films are made on. But what is the kind of budget that a Marathi film needs to be made?
So,
in terms of, because I understand that every film would have a different budget, but in terms of,
I think it depends on the kind of content and the kind of expanse and the like what kind of resources that one needs. But Marathi films right now they vary between 2 crores to 10 crores also. So it's in between that. But most of the Marathi films are made because we have a very limited. We constantly have to fight to get screens, and we don't have that kind of distribution like the Hindi films or like South Indian films. It's Mumbai is too close to all the Maharashtra centers, so like the Hindi films dominate the theater scene, and we constantly have to, because we are making some 100 films a year, so no film gets the right space, and that eventually what it does is it puts restrictions to the budgets. We can't really recover that kind of cost, and people are watching all kinds of cinema, so people are very very much aware of the quality of the image. So and we have to sustain in this chaos. So we have to make films which are competent enough. Just our content is not enough. We have to make films with which look professional, which look the way it should be. So so we constantly have to. We are struggling. All the filmmakers, we are struggling how to make films in a limited budget and how still make them the way we really want them to look and to be.
but Gautam, that's for Gautam and Umesh, both of you. I mean, with the mainstream Hindi cinema, majority of the budget goes towards the cast of the film or the stars. Do you think with Marathi films you have that advantage of a lower budget in terms of when you don't have a big star?
So we have fortunately good actors and some of them who are stars. But in Marathi, the content, like the audience, Marathi audience actually is it goes for the content. You can say, for example, Sairat, it didn't have any stars, and still it kind of people like the film. Or there are so many other films which, like Killa, for example, it didn't have a star. But still people like the film. So in Marathi cinema, the content is the star, but there are very good actors. We have really good actors in Marathi, and of course they are names and they are stars in their own way. And then the budgets are obviously, they do affect the budgets, but I think it's compared to Hindi films, it's still, I think we can make the films with good actors who have a certain name in the industry.
Gautam, what do you think?
Yeah, he's very right, because I think be it Marathi or Malayali cinema or Bengali, at least, the audience is very literate. They have read fair bit of literature, these three states, and are quite, know their stuff. So they are more receptive to purely content films, where cerebral films are also accepted. While here, Hindi cinema caters to a really, really wide audience, where it becomes Punjab to UP to Bihar to Maharashtra to everywhere. So I think when you're catering to such a wide diaspora of people, I think then I guess that's why they kind of dumb it down a little, if you put it that way, and so that the maximum reach happens. But I guess now with OTTs and all, and if you have tight budgets, you still can tell progressive but the more radical ideas can be made for smaller budgets, and with a lot of younger thanks to digital medium, a lot of younger stars, I mean actor stars coming up who can at least bankroll a 3, 4, 5 crore film. So, where you hope that because of these actors, something more exciting and, radical and something that has not been done before can be tried out. And now I think with audiences being used to, having Netflix, Amazon and access to shows and films from across the world, you hope that this will make them more receptive to, cinema that is off the beaten path.
But how much, Umesh, is the influence of Marathi literature on the Marathi cinema? Because I believe, it's Malayali as well as Malayalam literature and Malayali literature and Marathi literature. There's some exceptional work which is happening. But how much does that have an influence on the Marathi film industry? Good literature, and what Gautam said, the audience is literate and is used to reading good literature.
Yeah, so actually we don't usually make films based on literature. That's not something which is the trend in Marathi cinema. People are writing for cinema and then they're making films with new concepts. Most of the times the good literature is it's based in the earlier times. So it's so difficult to create that time. Because creating period, it needs a lot of money. It needs a certain kind of budget for the art direction, and we are actually working with very tight budgets. So perhaps that is one of the reasons. And another thing is, I think literature. Of course, there are some films which are made on that we have not made the films on stories at all. For example, we have made films which are based on the writings of the Marathi writers. For example, Mahesh Elkunswar. The Holi was made from his story, like his play. There's another film called Party, so Govind Nilani made. So there are some Hindi films which are made based out of Marathi literature in 70s and 80s. But as of now, I don't see a lot of films which are based on literature.
No, but what I meant was, does it have? I mean, with people, the influence on because of the literacy levels, because still there is some good literature coming out of Marathi language as such. So do you think the Marathi audience is more literate as compared to, rest of the states?
I don't think Maharashtra audience is more literate than the other states. I think it's like we all are similar in various ways. The only thing is we have a very good theatre tradition. And that definitely people are more aware of theatre, and there is a practice of people going to watch a play, and there's a lot of commercial theatre scene which is very good in Maharashtra. The literature, it definitely was. Like now, people who are in their 30s or 20s, unfortunately, many of them they studied in English medium schools. And for people who have studied in English medium schools, it's very difficult to relate to and to read Marathi literature. I think that's a very big lacuna, and I think it really needs to change. I really feel that there is really a great literature in Marathi, and most of them they're read by people who went to Marathi medium schools. And in I think the whole trend shifted in last 15-20 years, so definitely. So people are not so much aware of the Marathi literature practically. We can just say that Marathi literature, of course there are people who read, and there are books which are published every year, but they don't have the same kind of influence what they used to have 20, 30, 40 years back.
I mean, when I look at your body of work, of course, it's in Marathi, but you've made Marathi films, but it's not influenced as such by. I mean, it's not only influenced by the culture in Maharashtra. It's a very universal thing. If we were talking about Deol, it's a very universal approach to that film.
Yeah,
That happens in every state or everywhere around India.
I think we always believe that something which is really rooted in a culture, something which is very specific, can only become universal. So because it's really rooted in Maharashtra and the ethos of Maharashtrian people and what is happening in Maharashtra, if we look at it in a little broader perspective, and if we really try to find out what exactly is it in this which actually has the capacity to be felt by anyone who has not really lived this culture, and we try to kind of look at these things, but all our stories are actually quite they come from these people, they come from Maharashtra, they come from quite roots of who we are.
Sort of.
Yes, sir. So I have one question from Umesh sir, from the viewer side. So the question is that when we will come up with a cinematic universe like Marvel, films like Iron Man, Avenger, and Hulk in India?
I hope we don't, because they are anyway doing it, and I think this whole making everything big is a futile exercise. I think instead of making things big, if we go to like the most genuine experiences that we have, if we go deeper, it's better than going bigger. And I think they of course, I do believe that all kind of cinema should be there. It's not that only a certain kind of cinema, but every cinema should have a place in our whatever in our plate. But at the same time, I do feel that something like the role of any art or the role of any art form, or be it cinema or be it literature, I think it is to give us a vision and to give us some kind of a where you be close to yourself, and this yourself is not just a human being but also as a society, to understand who we are as human beings, to understand who we are as society. And I really feel that most of the films, with the pretext of making it big, they lose that genuine connect with us. So we do get mesmerized by things, but nothing actually slips inside our heart. And most of the films, I do feel very sad when in today's time, like, people are talking about numbers. So every film is released and they start talking about this film made 100 crores and this 200 crores. And if a film makes great numbers, it's considered to be a hit. Actually, a film which is a hit, it actually should hit the heart of person. And it's completely like the whole media has kind of turned it over to what is a hit is what is successful, and what has earned money is what is successful. I think it needs to be questioned constantly by people. And why should all these, like, everybody's talking about how much a film is being has earned, instead of talking about what actually is being said in the film. People are just talking about how much money it has earned. So the film has become a product because of this kind of publicity and the way the films as portrayed in the media. I don't know if I answered your question or I said something.
Yeah.
And what kind of, it's very interesting, what kind of marketing and promotion does a Marathi film require? The amount of,
by the time we make films, we have no money to do marketing. And so, no, but we are definitely, like, people are looking at it as a business. So we are doing all these the same things what Hindi films are doing. So the internet marketing and through Facebook and through Instagram, and people are constantly like, everybody is selling. Like the actors are coming every day on Twitter and saying that my film is getting released, and so and then there is television publicity. So yeah, I previously I have not seen so much of marketing being done in 70s, 80s. I don't think people were like constantly. Of course, there was marketing. Films were marketed, and but this kind of marketing, it has actually overtaken the actual film and the essence of the film. So that has become more obvious and more visible than the films themselves.
Because I've seen a lot of filmmakers friends, the films don't work and they blame it on the wrong marketing pitches and the way the film has been promoted. Gautam, what is your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, only times marketing fails is when nobody knows that a film like this released. Like, I think that's the only time marketing fails. And people are not aware of a film releasing, which happened in this film I had assisted, 1971, which coincidentally became a YouTube hit. But in 2007, nobody really knew about the film because there were just two shows, one morning show and one night show. So I think there you can blame marketing, but otherwise, I think earlier it used to be posters. I think in the 70s and 80s, and those, the posters, the billboards, and that drove you to a film. And I think now still the best bet is your trailer is what kind of should, which is the key, I feel, for audiences to decide whether they want to watch the film or not, I think, But yeah, marketing is too much. I mean, they just, it begins a month before the release and it goes on till at least a week after the release. And the amount of budget of marketing is, I think you could make 2 or 3 small films in the marketing budget of a, big film. And it's really sad. I mean, it's so, and I echo whatever Umesh said about it, where it's only talk about numbers, and it's really sad now. It's a pretty sad state.
But do you think at times the marketing of the films or the promotion of the films fails the film?
No, only if people are not aware of a film like X or Y releasing. Like I have experienced it probably with a couple of films that I did, which nobody knew that those films came out. I think that's where I guess you need the eyeballs is just for people to know. But that was before YouTube and, Facebook and everything. But now I think with Facebook, YouTube, everything, I think it's great. With all these, at least you're not totally dependent on a producer who might just realize that he doesn't want to spend any money on marketing. So at least you have your own channels and your own, Twitter account or Facebook account or Instagram to kind of self-promote your own film, which is a good thing, I feel, at least in terms of at least for people to notice that your film is coming out, because you're exploded with so much. There is so much to kind of watch and consume and, and to get the attention of the viewer. So, which is the tough thing. That's why I guess at least that must be the logic of the marketing people for spending so much money, just so that they can get the attention of the, audience towards their project. But yeah.
How do you think do the trailers fail? There's so much of emphasis on the trailers of the films.
Trailers have become more important than the films, actually.
Yeah.
People are just like rating the films by watching trailers. And everybody's just talking about the trailers of the films.
Yeah.
After the film is made, no one is actually really talking about what exactly was the film about.
Yeah, there are reviews about trailers now. I mean, it's ridiculous.
I've seen some big producers, sitting across, and they're specialized in cutting off trailers, And
to bring audience to the theaters, when there's a lot of entertainment which is easily available on a click, it's so difficult to make people come out of their homes, buy the tickets and be in this hall. So I think people are like really, everyone is trying their best so that people can come and watch the film in the theater. And I really believe that this whole experience of cinema is what you get when you are watching a film in a theater with other unknown people. That's the most authentic experience of watching a film. And I think it cannot be replaced. But it will take some time for the viewers to realize that this cannot be replaced by watching something on a small screen or on a mobile. It's a disservice to your own self if you're watching a film on mobile.
And how do you see this change in Marathi cinema from 90s, 80s, and 90s to 2000s and 2000 and above?
There is immense change because we never, in a sense, we never really reciprocated or connected with the films which were happening in the 90s. They were all films which we don't know what was happening, and why can't we relate to any of the Marathi films or most of the Marathi films that were happening in the 90s. And they definitely changed in the 2000s, because when these young filmmakers who knew about filmmaking in some way, some of them came from film schools, some of them came from the mass communication colleges. They had an exposure about world cinema. They wanted to tell their own stories. Actually, in Marathi, that is which also has helped creating this kind of environment, is so many people told the stories from their experiences and not like something which came from out of nowhere. Like it didn't come from like Fandry came from a very own experience of Nagaraj, or Killa came from the experience of Avinash. So many of the films people put their experiences, not their own, but what they've seen, and what they have experienced. So that gave us a very authentic kind of a texture, which was not there in 90s in Marathi cinema.
Yeah, I thought Shwas was the film that kind of changed things. I think it was, when did Shwas release?
Shwas was, because it was sent to Oscars and because it also won the national award, out of Maharashtra, people definitely feel that Shwas was the kind of turning point. But I definitely feel that all these filmmakers, for example, Sumitra Bhave, Sunil Suptankar, or Jabbar Patel, or Nachiket Jayu Patwardhan, or Chitra Palekar and Amol Palekar. So what they were doing is they were really creating a very good content all this while. So the stream of good cinema was alive, though it was not obvious, though people didn't know about these films outside Russia. But they were making good cinema. It was not very continuous. They were like not every year, but these films, they were there. And I think all of it, and then the Pune Film Festival started. So a lot of film festivals started. So we also had a new audience, which we didn't have, who know that there are films which are different than the typical so-called films which used to happen in 90s. So film festivals started, film schools, private film schools, film education started, and the economy also kind of shifted.
Yeah.
So all these kind of things, they produced the kind of Marathi films that we created.
Gaurav, you have more questions?
Yes, I have a question from the audience side. So, Umesh sir, what was the starting point or the initial idea for the film Garud?
So, so this film is called Garud. It's a short film. I made it for FTII. So this film is, so once I went to, so every film, there is not like one incident which gives you an idea. There are lots of things which come together and an idea is formed. So this, once I had been to a kind of a small village, town, and I missed my train and I had to stay in a kind of these shady lodges which are there, which usually exist near the railway stations. So when I went there, I was thinking that who all could have come here in this room and who could have, like what kind of people could have been here. So, and that thought was there in my mind for a while. And then I thought of, then this film I was supposed to make in the studio. So and in studio, you normally don't get this opportunity to shoot things the way you get it in studio, where you can actually remove the walls. And you can remove the walls and you can do the kind of lensing that you want to do. So I thought that it would be a good experience to create this one room where I can remove each wall at each point of time and then create a kind of circular motive by using tracks. So all these things, they come together to make this film called Garu.
So, sir, I have one more question from the audience side. So, what special message you want to give to your audience before the release of any film?
Message?
Yeah, I mean, before the release of any film, as we are talking about the marketing, and also, is there any special message you give before the release of any film?
First of all, I don't believe in giving messages, because I don't know what the real truth is. So I'm not in a position to give any advice or messages. But I can definitely say to myself that we can look at the filmmaker, for example. What if we really like some filmmakers and what the filmmaker has done before? And at the same time, we should also we should be open to new experiments, because we should not reject the films outrightly. Most of the criticism which I have heard from many of my friends is that after watching the film, people say that, oh, I liked the first half and the second half was boring, or vice versa. Oh, the first half was boring, but the second half was good. So the whole criticism of most of the people is the first half was good, or the second half was bad, or the second half was fast, or the first half was slow. More than that, there's a lot of things which actually the film has a capacity as a form to connect to your soul. And if you go and watch any film, don't don't think too much, because thinking is a problem many of the times. Maybe you discover something which you otherwise would never have discovered, and this discovering something on your own is a great joy. So yeah.
Would you like to add something, Gautam, on this?
No. You said it perfectly.
Okay. I mean, you just said that you don't give advices, but what is your, I mean, there are a lot of people looking up to you, Umesh, and what do you think, people, young filmmakers, young people who are interested in films, can you just tell them something about, the whole process, the craft?
I don't think it can be told like that, but what I feel is, if you really want to make a film, just make a film. Don't wait for a masterpiece to be made by you. The masterpieces will be made automatically if they have to be. Films they make themselves. You are just like initiator, and then and if you are completely at it and with all your senses, if you decide that I'm going to make this film, then the film will be made. The film will make itself. So I think this fear, we should really kind of go beyond the fear of creating something. At the most, it won't be great. At the most, people will say that, oh, it was nice but not so great. But who cares? Because making one film is not enough. It is a journey. So every film you discover some new things. If you start making films for your own self, for your own discovery, then one doesn't have to really, worry about the failure, because there is no failure in any make. So that is something which I would like to share. And the other thing, I think that cinema is a medium, it's a language. Unless we really respect the medium and the language in the true sense, it's not like all the other things are paraphernalia. There's like the fame, the name and the money and everything is something which will eventually come automatically. What is actually more important is the if this realizing the magic of cinema itself is something which, if you respect it and if you love it, I think that's enough.
That was not only meant for young filmmakers. That's also for
me also.
filmmakers who've been trying to make their first films. And thank you, for that advice.
Yeah, thanks very much for that advice.
That's not only meant for the young people or the first. Yeah. And I mean, what would you suggest about someone who's really fascinated towards filmmaking? What kind of films and how do you think they should begin in terms of watching of films, or just the whole thought about
I think one has to discover one's own way of one's own journey. Because if someone tells you that this is the way and this is the way one should go, I think that is exactly what this whole Indian education system has done. That they tell you that this is the way and you should follow. And that's why we don't create new things. We only follow once things are made outside, then we follow them and then we make them. Because we are truly afraid of being naked, being completely saying what we feel like saying. And so I think we should watch everything. Like this great world cinema, there are these masters who keep inspiring me all the time, like Abbas Kiarostami and Yasuhiro Ozu and Bresson and so many filmmakers, and Tarkovsky and Ichikawa. There are many, and everyone is trying to kind of mold this medium and play with it. So I think it's just going beyond the fear and having a faith, because you need to have faith in saying what you want to say. That's what I feel.
I mean, both of you, Gautam, and I mean, you wanted to become a chartered accountant, and you've also done your degree in law. And Gautam has been a doctor. I mean, he's stopped using doctor in front of his name. I mean, how do you see? I mean, both of you see yourself, being hooked to cinema at some point of time. I mean, in terms of you were into professions and there were other things. I mean, of course, watching a film or probably being influenced by friends made a lot of difference.
Gautam, you can answer it.
Okay. Your question was too long, man. So yeah, I mean, somewhere I think for me it was. I think the film world is inhabited by all misfits have come, and like who were misfits in the other world finally found a place here. I think it's an industry full of, the original misfits who came and found a place here. So for me also, I think somewhere, I think from, like I said, when you first asked me how I, you kind of know that you kind of belong here and you want to make films, and I don't know how to answer it, how Umesh answers things the questions. I am not capable of that, but somewhere I feel, yeah, you will know. For anyone who kind of loves cinema will eventually come here, I think, and make his or her own path and find their way and reach here, I think. It's, you just have to follow your heart, I think, If that answered the question, I'm not sure.
I mean, it's one of the why I asked this question was because there are a lot of, I mean, there are some young people watching this conversation, and we exert too much of pressure, in terms of, with Gautam. I mean, it's quite fascinating to know that, after getting into your profession, after completing your professional degree, or even with Umesh, later in life, that you guys decided and you found your passion in cinema, but that was later on in life. And a lot of us worry about, what children must do, and the youngsters must.
I think most of the times, a lot of people take time to know what they really want to do in life. And I think you have to, I think that moment will come to that person at some point in time. Even if you kind of, you might not know what you really want to do till you're 35. But the day you realize that, oh, this is what I want to do in life, be it painting or films or farming or whatever, that is a time when you have to take that decision. If, at least in my generation, at least people were clueless till a fair amount of time. I don't know how things have changed amongst the young generation. And it's all right to kind of, losing interest in something and start suddenly something else exciting you, and then take that up. But take that up with complete honesty and be honest to yourself. Like, finally, I was dishonest to myself throughout my medical college, and somewhere I was a gutless person. I didn't have guts to tell my parents anything till I found that courage. And I told them, no, now I don't want to be attached to medicine, and I want to do films. And I didn't know whether I want to direct or do cinematography or even do casting or whatever. But somewhere that courage came out to realize I want to be in this world, right? And I took that step, and I went against their wishes, and they weren't happy. But so every kid needs to know that whenever that thing strikes them that this is what we want to do, they should have the courage to take that step, and things will fall in place. Things do fall in place. If you're sure about yourself, and then you should just take that step. Yeah, that's that.
Umesh, you have something to say?
I think pretty much the same. I think, yeah, what Gautam said.
I mean, I think our generation, we still, at least I can say, I still do not know what I want to do. So, I mean, it's never too late.
Yeah, it's never too late.
I think we should keep discovering new things, because otherwise any kind of tagging is so limiting. Because when we say that I'm a filmmaker, then it limits my possibilities of doing some other things. So I think it's just to keep the possibilities open, and then do what we really feel great doing at that point of time is something that we should. And it's not easy to really do that, to be able to do that. It takes a lot, and it takes a lot of courage and a lot of but yeah, that's also the beauty of it.
And I mean, at any point of time, you can be fascinated with something new which you want to do. I mean, to be honest, I've been always fascinated by your work and the kind of workshops you do, the kind of films you make. It's suddenly made it very, very fascinating for me to look at and explore different things. Saurabh, any?
Yeah, so let me take one last question from the viewer side from Umesh sir. So could you please tell us something about your future projects?
Actually, there are a lot of films that I want to make, and I'm many of them are so oblique So I don't know if I will be able to kind of, get the resources to make these films. But I want to do lots of, in that sense, experiments which I feel that making. So this one film that I want to make is the same writer, this G.A. Kulkarni, who is a Marathi writer. And there is a story of this writer which I want to make first, like adopting a story, like a literature piece into a film, which we have never done. We always wrote our own things. But this writer is someone whom I feel that I owe it to him, and so I want to make this film. It's the next year is his birth centenary, so I hope I can make this film next year so that I can present it to the world the next year. So that's something which I'm working on right now. And then there are other lot many things. Yeah.
My last question to Gautam: what is new that you are writing, and how is it shaping up?
So I've kind of developed a script with like a story kind of right now with two of my friends. So on a real life incident. So that now needs to be made into a screenplay. We just finished the story a few days back only. So that, and one script I developed a few years back, some people have shown interest. So these two things and casting on the side. So that's about it.
Okay.
So yeah. So sir, I have one more question for Umesh sir. So this is one of the last questions, sir. So when you are not making films, that time how you spend your time, sir, Umesh sir?
I'm most of the times I'm wandering and I'm traveling. So I'm not a filmmaker. I'm a nomad. So I keep traveling. So this is the first time I'm at home for 3 months continuously. So otherwise I'm just wandering from one place to another, anywhere. And yeah, otherwise I love reading and listening to music, and I also like to. So in this 3 months, I'm completely spending it to create a certain kind of a small jungle around my house.
So do you wander alone, or you travel with friends also?
No, it depends, because most of the people have a lot of work to do. So not many times people can travel with me. So many times I travel alone, and sometimes I travel with friends. So yeah.
So, I mean, there is a possibility that I can travel with you sometime.
Yeah, sure. Let's travel.
Thank you so much, Umesh, and thank you, Gautam, for joining in. I mean, it's lovely talking to both of you, and thank you so much, for sparing this time. And sort of, before you could have thanked them, I've thanked them, and you can do the closing remark.
Sure, sir. So thank you very much, Umesh sir and Gautam sir, as well as Mitul Dixit sir, for this wonderful session and insights about your journey, as well as the movies or the films you are making. So thank you very much for being with us today, and thank you. Namaste, sir.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Mitul. Thanks, sir. Thanks a lot.
ये साइन आउट कैसे करते हो भाई, मुझे पता नहीं.
So you can leave the meeting. There is an option. There is an option for leave. Yeah, thank you. So thank you very much to all our viewers for being with us today for this particular live interaction session with Mr. Umesh Kulkarni ji, who is the film director, as well as with the Gautam sir. Now he's the casting director and the assistant director. And thank you very much for being with us and watching all our live interaction sessions. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। एंड कल फिर हम दोबारा, कल 7 बजे 7 PM हम दोबारा आएंगे। And we are coming up with a new series of live interaction session with the students and innovators. So if you have done something amazing work in the field of innovation or a creativity in the field of technology, you will also get a chance to be with us on this live interactive session. So tomorrow, from tomorrow onward, we are coming up with students also on this live interactive session. कल हमारे साथ होंगे दो students, दो schools के who are in 6th class, जो 6th class में, and they're doing innovation in the field of experimental learning. Swarnika and Agra Dubey will be with us by tomorrow. And both of them are in 6th class and doing a lot of experimental learning at their home in this lockdown period. And they will, share their experiences. कि उन्होंने experimental learning कैसे सीखा, how they are doing something in the field of STEM education. तो कल 7 बजे हम मिलेंगे। और अगर आप लोगों ने किसी भी फील्ड के अंदर बहुत अच्छा काम किया है, whether in the field of robotics or in the field of drones, space technology, experimental learning, you can write to us. And if you we like your work, we will invite you on our live interactive session. हम आपको invite करेंगे अपने live interactive session पे, and you can share your story with the world. आप अपनी जो story है, आपकी innovation है, वो आप world के साथ share कर सकते हैं. In addition to that, Smartcircuits Innovation Private Limited have launched a lot of courses, online courses for you people in this lockdown period. And that may include the robotic basics, robotic advanced, that may include space technology course जिसके अंदर आपको कैन सैटेलाइट और हाइड्रो रॉकेट बनाना सिखाया जाएगा, डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ रोबोटिक्स के बारे में सिखाया जाएगा आपको ऑनलाइन विद द हेल्प ऑफ ट्रेनर्स लाइव क्लासेस के साथ साथ. और इसके अलावा सिर्फ आपको ऑनलाइन वीडियोस ही नहीं दिखाई जाएंगी, वी आर ऑल्सो प्रोवाइडिंग यू द मटेरियल. हम आपको मटेरियल भी प्रोवाइड कर रहे हैं, हम आपको किट्स भी प्रोवाइड कर रहे हैं, जिन किट्स की हेल्प से यू कैन मेक अ लॉट ऑफ डिफरेंट प्रोजेक्ट, वेदर इट इज रिलेटेड टू रोबोटिक्स. अगर आपको सीखना है, आपके घर पर किट आएगी, यू कैन मेक अ रोबोट्स. इफ यू आर इंटरेस्टेड इन मेकिंग एरो मॉडलिंग और एरो ड्रोन्स, आपके घर पर आरसी प्लेन का मटेरियल आएगा, यू कैन मेक योर ओन एरो मॉडलिंग प्लेन्स, रेडियो कंट्रोल प्लेन. इफ यू आर इंटरेस्टेड इन मेकिंग अ कैन सैटेलाइट्स, we'll send the material at your home and you can learn making a can satellite and a hydro rocket with the help of our STEM expert. So there are a lot of courses, and if you are interested in Python, you are interested in gaming, you are interested in Scratch gaming, STEM modules. So all these the courses are available for you people, and you can go to our website, that is smartcircuits.com, and you will get to know about all the courses from our website. आपको हमारी website से सभी courses की information मिल जाएगी. In addition to that, if you have any problem, if you want to take a free demonstration session from our expert, अगर आप free डेमोस्ट्रेशन भी लेना चाहते हैं, यू कैन ऑल्सो बुक अ फ्री ट्रायल फ्रॉम आवर साइड. हमारी टीम आपको कॉन्टेक्ट करेगी, हम आपको सबसे पहले एक फ्री डेमोस्ट्रेशन देंगे. एंड इफ यू लाइक द डेमोस्ट्रेशन, यू कैन गो अहेड विद द प्रोग्राम एंड यू कैन रजिस्टर फॉर द फुल कोर्स, whether it is a robotics or a space technology, Python, STEM module. Already we are doing a lot of courses, already a lot of batches are going on related to robotics, space technology, internet of things, artificial intelligence and all. So if you are interested in any of our course, you can write to us at any time. You can comment on a Facebook page, you can send us a message on a Facebook as well as on a WhatsApp, and our team will be get back to you. And you can also book your free trial at any time, and we will be in touch with you and we'll give you the free demonstration. And if you like the demonstration, you can go ahead and you can register for the courses. And all the details for the courses are available on our website. You can go to our website and you can see all the information about our courses. And I hope you can do a lot of innovation in this particular lockdown period and throughout the year, not in the lockdown period, but throughout the year, you can do a lot of innovation in support with the Smart Circuit Innovation. We are here with you and we need your support. अगर आप चाहते हैं कि आप innovation करें, हम हमेशा आपके साथ हैं. We'll provide you each and everything. We'll provide you the material. We'll provide you the trainings. We'll provide you each and everything. So ये जो barrier है, ये आपको cross करना है, and we are always with you. हम हमेशा आपके साथ हैं, आपको innovation provide करने में. So be the part of Smart Circuits Innovation Initiative and the courses, and stay tuned until our next episode, that is tomorrow, with the innovators, with the student innovators. And if you have done something innovative work, you can write to us at any time and we will be with you. And thank you very much. Stay safe, stay at home. घर पर रहिए, अपना ख्याल रखिए, मास्क पहनिए, सैनिटाइजर्स को यूज कीजिए, अपने हाथों को बार बार धोइए in this COVID-19 period. And घर से बाहर मत निकलिए जब तक आपको कोई जरूरी काम नहीं है. खुद भी सेफ रहिए, अपने परिवार वालों को भी सेफ रखिए, अपने फ्रेंड्स को भी सेफ रखिए, उनको भी मैसेज पहुंचाइए. Stay tuned with us, stay safe, stay at home. Thank you very much for being with us for today's session. कल फिर मिलते हैं आपसे, तब तक के लिए bye. Thank you very much.